I get to speak with Helena Cos of Spider Rockets with their latest album that just came out. This thing is incredible. Dirty and Bad. We got what, 8, 9 tracks on this album that are all phenomenal. Congratulations, Helena.
You got it, my friend.
Yeah. So first and foremost, before we get started into the album, how would you guys come up with the name Spider Rocket?
Well, we had the name originally was Spider Monkeys, and this is back when we were a duo. And there was a band in Florida that was called Spider Monkey, and they sent us a cease and desist letter. And we were like, "Oh God, all right, what the hell?" We were all bummed out. But then John came up with he was like, "We're going to just change it to Spider Rockets." And I was like, I don't even know how he came up with it. It was kind of random. And I was like, "Hey man, I like that better anyway, so it's all good."
Well, no, it's a
So we just
great name, so that's why.
yeah, so it worked out, and it was we stuck with it, and it was really his thought. It was his like kind of brainchild.
No, no, because the Angels minor league team is called the Trash Pandas, and
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and it's in Rocket City in Alabama where
Okay,
they build
okay.
all the rocket ships. So it's literally a trash can launching a raccoon into space.
Oh, how great is
Yeah.
that? Is that
So I,
that's so cool.
yeah, so I didn't know if like you guys got the name that way or whatever, but this is a great name too with Spider Rockets. Take us through the latest album. Like we got a bunch of tracks on here. So my favorite, obviously, "Dirty and Bad." The title track is fantastic. I like "Casual Violence." I like "Everything to Everyone." "Drive." Like the entire album from start to finish is incredible.
I'm so glad you like it, Robert. Oh my God. Yeah, so we started the whole process. We started um back recording with somebody called a producer called Dan Mulch, and he actually worked on Ghost. Just charted like top on the top Billboard Top 200, which is freaking amazing. But he's been working with Ghost and Avenged Sevenfold and stuff like that. So we recorded the first 4 songs with him a few years ago. Okay.
Mhm.
And we put out first video, Casual Violence, and then we put out the second video, Monster of Your Dreams. And we were working on the other songs. We were like, let's get these next songs to where we want them to be. We didn't want to rush the process. We wanted to do a good job and do something that made us feel like they were at where they needed to be. So we reached out again, and Dan, because Dan's like freaking like shooting like a shooting star at this point. So he was like, I can't, I'm trying to fit you in. I can fit you in here and there. And we're like, we can't fit in right there. So we found another producer in New Jersey. Um, and it was through our drummer actually. And we started working with him and recording with him for the last 6 songs of the album. And that was Ben Karras. Um, so the first 4 were with Dan Mulch and Soundmine, and the last 6 were with Ben Karras in Clifton, New Jersey. So, and it was actually pretty cool. It was kind of like, it was funny because Dan Mulch's studio is this big, like freaking, you know, spaced out studio, beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's like, there's so much room. There's many studios in it. You can see the wood grain on the wall. It's just beautiful, right? And
Mhm.
then we go to Clifton, New Jersey, which is down and dirty. And we just got to work, man. We just like it was like we don't care. We don't need fancy stuff. We just need to get to work and get the stuff done. And that's what we did. So it was great. It was a great experience with both of them. It was really, we were really excited to work with both of them, and they were both fantastic. They both had great ideas, a lot of talent between the two of them.
And in
So
that, you put out an incredible album.
yeah, we got it, had a great team around us. So it helps. You can't do things on your own. You just need to have, it takes a village, right?
Oh, for
Village.
sure. So with the latest album being out now and everything being as exciting as it is, and by the way, who did the album cover art? Because the cover art's amazing.
Um, the cover art is amazing. So art direction was from our manager, Roman Fernandez, okay? But the actual cover art was by, and I'm probably pronouncing his name totally wrong, Brian Morales did the cover art, and he just kicked it out of the park. We were working really closely with him the whole time, and probably getting on his last on his last he was probably these freaking Americans. But yes, but he kicked it out of the park. He did such a fantastic job on it. Yeah.
Well, everything looks beautiful. The album's clean. Like when I say clean, as in, the sound is crisp and it's beautiful. Even though there is that like hard rock grit to it, it still sounds like it's produced perfectly.
Yeah, and that's again, that goes back to both Dan Mulch and Ben Karras, and then also Zach Ziskin, who mixed and mastered. And Zach is hugely talented as well, and he does such a fantastic job. He's out of Florida, and he has worked on a few of our albums at this point, and he's done a wonderful job. He is so easy to work with and is so talented. So again, going back to the village thing, right?
Right. No,
It
for
takes a
sure.
village. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting with the Northeast sound because, like, New York in the 70s, we had the Dolls, we had Kiss, we had, all the guys that were hitting up Manhattan and all that stuff. And then we had Twisted Sister that was off in Long Island. And everyone kind of forgets about, like, the New Jersey sound and stuff that came out of there, unless they're either talking about, John Bon Jovi or Springsteen. So it's always fun to see, like, what comes
Right.
out of the Northeast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And both of those guys are like legends. So it's like we're super, super lucky to be in a state that has produced two rock legends, right? Um, and uh, wow, what incredible company to be in, even remotely, which is pretty remote for us. And it's not like we know them or anything. Hey, we don't hang out and have coffee and stuff with them, but it's still pretty awesome. And it is, there's so much stuff going on in New Jersey. It's like so many different sounds and stuff, but it's also like a super small state. If you really think about it, like the actual mileage or the whatever the distance between all the cities and stuff is relatively small compared to like California or Texas or like anything, like big states and stuff. But we have two rock radio stations here in this state as well, which is like kind of a cool thing, for the Northeast, right? Because it's like, it's kind of sometimes you don't see that, and it's like wow. So there's like at the core of it, there's like a rock thing going on in New Jersey and stuff. Sometimes it's overlooked a little bit, but it's like it's still there and it's pretty awesome.
The funny thing about New Jersey is that it's always been treated as New York's neglected younger brother.
Yeah. And that's probably where the attitude comes too. It's like the chip on shoulder, like, don't mess with us, man. Yeah.
Until you get to South Jersey, and then all of a sudden, it's like blueberry fields everywhere.
Yes, it's very, very, very like cool and stuff. And we're kind of where we're located in Jersey, we're at the top of the Jersey Shore, like the northern part of the Jersey Shore. So we're at the Bay Shore area of New Jersey.
Mhm.
So where I guess where the beaches start, you want to say, all right? So that's where we are.
So
But we're not
you're
like where the
right.
yeah, so we're near Red Bank, near Asbury Park, kind of a little, not that far away from Asbury. Um, near Long Branch, Keensburg,
Right.
you know. So yeah, Union Beach, we're all, it's kind of all in that area and stuff. So it's Bayshore area, and it's like kind of overlooked because it's more like, oh, the Jersey Shore or Northern Jersey and stuff. And we're like kind of like yeah, like the redheaded stepchild in a way, in between the two of them.
Well, it looks like you guys are having a great time out there, although your hair's not big enough to be from North Jersey, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I'm not a big fan of like a hairspray, my friend.
Well, I couldn't do anything with it anyway, so
You could tease up a few
Oh,
locks. You
oh yeah.
could
Yeah. No, we got to have some fun with it. But the way everything's working out and the album is fantastic, and the way the way you guys put it together, it's got that grit. You know, how important was it to have that like hard rock sound that what, you know, like the, how do I put this? The engineering is polished, but the sound is still raw.
Yeah, and that's kind of our sound. So it's like it's always been our sound, having that kind of like gritty thing, and it's the combination of, the because we take from the influences of, like when you were mentioning all those, like the bands from New York and stuff. Huge Kiss fan, New York Dolls. Are you kidding? Oh my God. So we love the grit, and we don't want to polish that stuff out of there but at the same time, you need something to be accessible too, so it's like finding that balance between not losing yourself, and in the mix of like too much polished and stuff, too much, like shining yourself away or something, so we wanted to have that there, but we wanted to also have fun with it too, and we wanted to have like, we wanted songs that we liked a lot. And you can never tell what anybody else is going to like, right? At the end of the day, you're like, you can guess forever. You can like, are people going to like this? Who knows? You that's the unknown the thing out there. But you can always kind of come up with something that you like, that you say, oh my God, I like this song. This is like a freaking rockin' ass song. You know, this song just kicks my ass. And that's where we wanted to come to, which is why it took this long for us, and also why we took our time each step of the way. But at the same time, we didn't want to polish out that. And we didn't want to, like, sometimes you end up following trends. You're like, oh my God, this is hot right now. This is happening right now. You know what? Things come and go all the time. And if you start chasing trends like that, it just doesn't, you lose yourself in it. You're not yourself anymore. And it doesn't work for us. So,
No, for sure. And this is very much a party fun album. You know, you're
yeah.
not talking about nuclear annihilation. You're not talking about the end of the world. You're not talking about demon possession. You're just like, hey, we're a couple of badasses. We're having fun. We're going to make sure that you're along for the ride with us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, it is. It's like, there's some darker elements in there, but it's like wrapped up in fun, and like just like throw, like laugh until you like freaking like cry or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's like a combination of everything. It's not like poppy bubblegum stuff, but at the same time it's like, it's not like all those things that you said, right? Death and destruction.
Right. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
enough of that in real life. We need to relax a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You need it. You need to kind of be able to get away from it, and lose yourself and other stuff. And
So,
sometimes exercise those things, right?
right.
So that's what, yeah, and that's what we kind of do with our music too, is exercising the freaking nasty outside.
You know, every once in a while, a song will come together and it's written in like 15 minutes. And then another song, you'll have the hook for like 5 years and you still can't figure out where you're going to stick this hook. And then eventually it hits. Were there any songs like that that were like done in 15 minutes and then others that are like, should have been on like 4 albums ago, but you're like, we finally got it for this one?
I, you know, I admire people so much that are able to like freaking jot out songs on napkins at some bar, and are like, yeah, I wrote this in 5 minutes, dude. I just like, it just came together magically for me. Nothing ever is magical for me. Nothing. I like freaking, if you look at my lyric sheets, dude, you're gonna see like a stack, like a freaking book for each song. It goes through. So it starts off with something, either it starts with a guitar riff, it starts with a bass riff, it starts with a drum riff or something. It starts with something, and then the lyrics come, or the lyrics started. But at the same time, it's like it goes through a bunch of stuff to get there. And so it's never the 15 minute, it's never the 5 minute, or I wish it was. That would be friggin' awesome. I would love that. Yeah, I'm that much of a genius that we can, and we're all that much of a genius that we can do these magical things, and come out with these like wonderful, like Bohemian Rhapsody kind of songs or whatever. That would be awesome. But yeah, it doesn't happen. It really is a process. Sometimes it comes together, like part of a song will come together very nicely and very quickly, but then putting the other elements together takes a little bit of time. And it's like, so we struggle over that or whatever. But we also like, I told you with our producers. So we also had Bryn Ahrens from a band called Flip Out in the Midwest, and he helped kind of like arrange some of the songs. So Dirty and Bad, for example, was Bryn Ahrens got involved and he was like, guys, too complicated. We need to simplify this. And he had the like cigarette hanging out of his mouth. We did like Zoom interviews with him from him with the Midwest, and he was like, "All right, now play it again, and like do it like this. Simplify. Don't play like you need to play every single note. Ever created. Play it, simplify, and just make the song come through and stuff. So a lot of that happens too along the way too. So it just the song comes together, but then it's like, okay, wait a second, we need another verse here. We need to add a bridge. We need to so a bunch of different things happen, and it's like, okay, so it's not, yeah, it's a process.
I got you. No, it's like, so like, let's look at thrash, with the big four. Like Anthrax is like
Okay.
the party band of the four.
Yeah.
Slayer wanted to be as fast as possible. Metallica wanted to be the most famous. And then Megadeth wanted to be the most technical. So you guys were like trying to be Megadeth and being the most technical at this point.
Well, maybe, but at the same time, we were trying to make good songs. So it's like, I
Right.
mean, not Megadeth like freaking
Oh yeah.
rocks my world. Oh my God,
Right.
Dave Mustaine is amazing. But I guess what we were trying to do is like make something that was accessible, get too crazy, wrapped up in like the little minutia. And sometimes you do get wrapped up in the minutia, and you need somebody else to take you back and say like, guys, what the hell? So
Right.
and that's where it's like, you need another like somebody to come in from the outside and just say, take a look and say, all right, good bones, but you know what? We need to make some changes here.
Right. It's almost like, hey, pull back. We just need the four tracks.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's like sometimes there's just too much, and it's like, and I know with even with lyrics, for me, it's like I start writing, and Johnny will like say, "How many words do you need to put in that verse? That one line, it's like you're trying to put a whole book into that one line. Like, cut it back a little bit. Why don't you?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, all right."
Well, take us through the band as well. Let's chat up everybody else. Sometimes people forget to talk about the rest of the band, but we got
Sure,
Johnny,
yeah.
we got Dan, we got AJ. Like
Mhm.
how did
And they're
everybody come
all
together and like just find the groove with one another?
yeah. So we've been with Dan, Dan Preston. The three of us have been together for a long time now, through albums and albums. AJ came on board this past year. Our other bass player, our old bass player, had some health issues, and he can no longer play anymore. So we and it was kind of cool because AJ is so local to us too that it just was a perfect fit. And it was just like, how is this guy living like a mile away and we didn't even know about it? Like that kind of a thing. So the way it works generally with us is that, somebody will come up with an idea, and it's Johnny comes up with the riffs, and he'll like shoot over riffs to everybody and stuff. And sometimes I'll come up with a vocal line. Like I have an app on my phone, and I use it to like record things and stuff, and to write lyric lines and stuff. So I'll come up with something, and I'll mention it to Johnny and say, hey, let's see if we can come up with something to this. And which is how Dirty and Bad came along. By the way, that was a vocal line, me out on a like stop chord. I came back with this. I'm not sure if it's stupid or not. He was like, I like it, and that's always my sounding board with that. He's like, he'll tell right out of some things like stupid because I can't sometimes. Is this crap okay?
Mhm.
Um, but then, Dan will come up with these like cool drum riffs and stuff. And he can get really technical and cool too. So he can come up with some really awesome stuff. AJ and Johnny have been trading things back and forth recently because we're working on the new album now. So it's like friggin' we're ready to put this one out, but we're working on next one already. And so the two of them are trading riffs back and forth, and we're already starting kind of worked our way through a couple of songs already. So it's everybody bouncing things off of each other, and just it's kind of organic, just like kind of all right, so let's do this, let's try it out at the next practice and see what happens. And then we'll come up a little bit further. We're like, okay, now we need to come up with a bridge maybe, or a chorus or a pre-chorus or something on this. Maybe this part doesn't work, and so you kind of like play around with things, and things work or they don't work, and they come to a certain. We bring them to a certain level, and we'll do like a rough demo with them, and then bounce them off of people that we trust and stuff, and see what they say.
Wow, no, that's awesome. The fact that you guys are already working on the next album just
Yeah,
is a testament to everything that you guys are willing to put in there.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's what we do. We really love doing it, so it's part of the process. You're gonna have to excuse me. I have a 16-year-old dash hound right here who is partly has dementia a little bit. He's like he's kind of like, and he's banging. So you might hear some noises.
It's all right. Listen, you got to take care of them, right? So make
Little
sure
guy,
everything's
yeah.
okay. Yeah. But as everything progresses along, you're working on the new album already. You got everything, well, at least you got the motions into everything at this point. How exciting is it to know that the creative juices like were reignited instantaneously, where you go from, oh man, it took forever to, at least what feels like forever to get this album out,
Yeah.
to, all right, we already got pen to paper for the next one.
I think we kind of force ourselves to do it too because we're not, like I said, we're not the ones that can come up with something in 5 minutes and or 15 minutes and come up with something brilliant. So we take our time with things, and that's our process. So knowing that, we know that we can't wait until the last minute and say, all right, let's crank out 10 awesome songs, or some 10 songs that we think are awesome, that we're happy with. So we know that we have to start like early in the process and get moving along.
So I do have to ask this, of the 10 tracks,
Yeah.
which one? I mean, all 10 tracks are great. Like I said, from start to finish, you put Dirty and Bad, you go all the way to Welcome to the Show. But there has to be one song that you have the most fun singing, and you have the one song that always like, oh, this is the most challenging, but I love when I'm able to hit, this note right here. What are the two
Yeah.
songs like that on this album?
Okay. So, I think there's like a few songs that I really love singing. I love Casual Violence because that kind of aggression, kind of pent up aggression, pent up anger, right? But remember I was talking about exercising, so it's like exercising, your demons within the songs, through the songs. Casual Violence, I love doing live. I love that song. It's just it always like just is a great song to perform live. Dirty and Bad is fun, just because it has a different vibe to it. Um, the Storm for me um, is one that like kind of goes into the higher, and Rock Your Ass Off goes into the higher registers a little bit. And those are definitely ones that are a little bit more challenging in terms of vocal kind of, live performance and stuff. But also just I really like them. I like what they turned into and stuff. And they're powerful, and like they have a different angle to them than the other song. Each one has a little bit of a different angle, but yeah. So I really, there's a few. There's like no absolute favorite or anything, but yeah. And Drive is just one of those cool, like, just imagine behind the wheel of a car, you're just like you're just driving, and and that's the vibe of the whole song, which is really cool.
Well, the album comes out on May 23rd. Is there a supporting tour that's going to come along with the
Yeah.
album release?
We want it, and we're actively looking. So I think we're just going to have to see what comes along and what opportunities we get, and just move forward as opportunities present themselves, and we find things that make sense. So we want to be out there. We want to be playing live. We want to be playing live a lot, and we love it. So it's very exciting for us, and we hope to see you out there too. Oh my God,
I
that
was
would
gonna
be so
say, when you
awesome.
do a West Coast leg of the tour, let me know. I want to be there. Yeah, yeah.
So
The most I'll
I'm
end up doing is being like, what's it called? One of the Partridge Kids with the tambourine, because you're not gonna have me singing.
we can take that. We'll take that. That's awesome.
To take the cymbals out of the tambourine, but we're good to go at that point.
That would be freaking awesome. I love that.
Yeah, but yeah,
Here's Robert joining us on this one.
right. It's just a backing track of tambourines, nothing in hand, just the shell of it all. Yeah, it's perfect.
Here.
Yeah, that's the most musically inclined I'll be able to do on stage at that point.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. It'll be great to meet you. It will be
Yeah,
great to meet you, and it'll be exciting for us.
yeah.
So
Helena,
yeah, yeah, I mean, we have the video too. So the first single came out, Dirty and Bad came out 2 weeks ago, and the lyric video to it also came out. So you can check out the lyric video online on YouTube, and Dirty and Bad is available everywhere from Apple Music to Amazon to like Rhapsody to whatever. Um, and we're good feedback on it. We're glad that people are actually enjoying the song. So,
oh yeah, no, the
and
album
did
is
you see
great
the
from.
artwork for that one?
What's that?
The the artwork for the single also was concept was Roman's concept for that for the single artwork too. So you can check that out too.
That's awesome. Listen, you guys are doing great. Where can we find you on social media if we want to connect with you? And we'll link everybody to where they can pick up the album. I know Barnes and Noble and a couple other places are going to hold it.
Barnes and Noble is probably the best bet because it's easiest to find. The best place to hook up with us, go to our website. All of our social links are there. Everything's there. You can sign up to the email list, and kind of meander around. But that's the first and best spot to start.
I love it. Well, the website's spiderrockets.com. The album is called Dirty and Bad. Helena Cos, it's been a great pleasure chatting with you. Comes out May 23rd. Definitely one you want to pick up. I like physical media because when I finally get to see you face to face, I want the band to sign the album.
And we want to sign it. So honestly, the artwork is awesome.
Yeah,
So, it just is really great. So it's nice to have that physical copy, I think. So
exactly. Like, I can't
we're
have you
glad that you
sign my
have one.
phone on a streaming service. I want the album in hand to sign it and go, look who signed my album.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to sign one for you. So we'll do it in person or we'll do it via mail, whatever works for you, Robert.
Well, I already got the album in hand, so it's got to be in person because I'm not gonna have you go out of
We've
your
got
way
to do
and
it in
send me a
person. Yeah,
second one.
I saw you holding it up. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. So we got to do it in person and we take some pictures too.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today, Helena. SpiderRockets.com. The album is Dirty and Bad, May 23rd. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you. I can't wait for the West Coast leg of the tour.